So this is the 300-pound watercolor paper, and these are dollar store spray bottles. I think I bought these 2 per pack. This is a mix that I was using a while ago. So it's acrylic paint that is thinned to a fairly watery consistence. You have to figure out what that is. You add water to it and then you try and spray it. If it's not spraying, it's too thick. If it's not covering, it's too thin. I don't know if you can see that shaking around, but now this has been used before. So, it's still working, which is surprising because they don't often work again, but we'll take this as a gift. Even if you wash them out, they don't often work again. So we're just laying down, we're changing this one. You can see that's sort of stopped spraying now. It's doing more of a jet. So this is a yellow ochre mix that we're just getting in there. So we're changing the summer season to the fall. And so you'll see it splattering as well. And so I'm going to take a little bit of this red and pour that in there. Probably not enough in there. A bit more. And you'll notice I use my thumb to spray that just because you really need to exert some pressure on that to get that to spray right. So we're not going to be saving very much of the that's that thumb in there doing much better than okay, we're going to mix up a darker color. So we can throw in a few branches. You'll notice that I'm working from the right side in, which is the correct way for a left-handed person to work. If you're right-handed, it's a shame, but you just come in from the other side. Pushing down on the rigger gives us a nice wide line. This is quite a big tree, so we'll double up on that. And of course, when you're pushing down, it uses a lot more paint as you can't quite complete a line. So this is the second layer of splash, and we're going to use the splatter brush first. I'm just pouring out some of the paint that I mixed up for the spray. So we're just using some ultramarine blue and white to create a very light sky color. We're just going to recoat these trunks. Just desaturate that purple a little bit. You have to pick and choose what you're going to paint over and what's going to be leaves in front of these trees. So we're going to be adding some darks in here. We're going to gradually creep up on them. We're mostly going to do this with the rigger now, as it's the splatter brush is great for high speed splattering, but when you want something a little bit more specific, you really do need to use when you're doing it like this, you really have to watch that you're not being repetitive or too specific. You want it to look like it's still splattered. And you can throw in, obviously, a little bit of splatter in with that. Keeping in mind, this is just we're going to be coming in with a darker, probably several darker oranges. And we are looking at the reference to get an idea of where to put these darks. So we're putting the last layer of splash. This is the red that I've just added more ultramarine blue to darken it. This is mostly going on down the bottom, but we will put a little bit, try a little bit of splash up there. Now you can spray some water on that if you want a more blurred or soft transitions, and you'll see that in the samples at the end of this video. But I think we're going to leave this pretty much as it is. So we're just going to put some of this highlights back in fairly selectively. So when you're working on a canvas, it's a good idea to put down a base coat or tone the canvas in some way. So rather than just tone it one color, which I often do, I'm going to actually start building light and darks in this canvas. So we don't have to worry too much about how well this is covered, because this is mostly going to get covered, but we don't want to have those little bits of white canvas showing through. And when you spray, if you're using a lot of water, sometimes it will go down to white canvas, which we don't want to do. So when I first started doing these splash paintings, I did it just with a brush, and I splattered by tapping it like you might have done when you smoked. But having since found that someone had already thought of a better way to do that, this is a splatter brush. So it's almost like as thick as a corn broom. They're not synthetic, or rather they are synthetic. And so initially I was trying to tap it, but it's much more successful if you splay it. And I mix up just a little bit of paint in the bottom of a plastic tub, because you really only need it on the end of this. And you go to town. This is substantially faster, and I've done these on 4 feet by 5 foot canvases. So, but that was the old way. I don't actually. I think some of them I did have this, but this is definitely a nicer way to go. So we've got a little bit of more yellow color there. This is just creating that area where the light is coming through. And I've sort of hinted at some sky, but I doubt very much any of that will survive. So we're going to darken the color just by adding some ultramarine blue, not going all the way just yet. So I just add it to that rather than have 12 different colors on the go. Don't worry about mixing it too much. So the background gets pretty much well, not completely covered, but it gets covered enough that you wonder why you do it, but it's because of those little spaces in between that you do not want those to show through as white canvas. This is the second time I'm doing this because yesterday when I was doing it, I forgot to hit record. So you'll be seeing two samples of this same one, but this is the only start you get to see. So now we're going to take that same green and we're going to make it substantially darker. You don't want this paint too thick because you'll get texture that you possibly don't want. And we're not going to go full dark because there's so much paint down here now that the dark will be influenced by the light. We can sometimes come in with a brush to create patterns, but I won't do much of that right now because it is so wet, but we'll do some more of that later. So we're going to put some different color trees in. Just sometimes it's a species difference and sometimes it's just the lighting that's hitting the tree. This is actually a young maple. I believe the big ones that are going to paint next are also maple, but they're more fully in the shadow. So they don't have the same value. So we're pushing down on that rigger to get a nice wide stroke. And we're actually going to double up on that to make it even wider. When you push down and you get that nice wide stroke, you definitely can't paint as long or as far with that brush as it uses up the paint. We did pretty good there, but So we're actually changing the colors coming down on this one. We're taking that into a dark as it gets lower in the canopy. I think we'll do the same for this next one as well. You want to watch that you're not repeating the same spacing. I am looking at the reference here and sort of somewhat mimicking that, but not entirely. A little blob of paint there we didn't like. GoPro, stop recording. Good morning, Rob. I'm just recording this, so, but you can talk. It's not, I'm not going to keep the sound. I'll keep that.
It's not easy being green, you know.
So did you have a chance to try those magnets? Or you totally forgot about them? The things to hold the screws on your bits.
Oh no, I haven't. I did play with them, but
that's good.
And I put them in a special place, and I wrapped 3 of them for a birthday gift. I know what you're talking about now. You caught me off guard because 2 things are happening. One, my memory is pretty well shot, and 2, oh, that's nice.
What's
the blue, the very blue? It's like a neon cobalt blue or something.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people really like that.
I'm not saying I like it.
Oh.
But I did say that's nice. It's an eye catcher. No, it is striking.
Yeah,
I can see it selling because.
Well, it's sold.
Oh, that's too bad.
Not that one, but it's sold 5 times already. So,
seriously?
Yeah.
That's.
So I
can see next year you just do your 200 paintings. They're all the same one.
Well, it does seem a shame that that's the way it goes, but.
Well, it's quite impressive because it has the brightness and the darkness. Well, that's because this thing's in the way. It has the brightness and the darkness in the blue. Like you might say it's bright, you might say it's dark, but then having that reflection come up the stream, and that's from a photo you took?
Yeah, it's actually, that's probably the first year I was working at Shoaldice. I was up photographing a school in Wharton, and I was trying to get the early light on the building,
right.
And I happened to just turn and think, wow, that's really cool.
Well, this is your new stand.
Yes.
You're liking it, eh?
It's pretty good. I still use the one there quite a bit too.
It's starting to spread out a little bit here.
Yeah, it's this is the, what is it? This is my 15th or 16th video.
You need us to move
done.
that monitor up higher so you can see it.
Yeah, it's actually I liked it higher, but my neck has gotten a lot better since I moved it down.
Yeah, I never thought of maybe just building a platform and sitting on it.
Well, it's still nice that it's easy to twist, and the counter underneath is free. Just stops me from putting anything really big on it.
It's either stops you from putting there, or you know where to find it. It's either on the ground or one of the drawers that you happen to leave open. I'm gonna go bring that food in.
Okay, I'm just about done here.
Probably better off out there anyway. Oh, Max, you ate it all.
Good dog. So what have you been doing all week?
Oh, I've been probably, all my spare time is dealing with Rogers from Kitchener. I've been down to Kitchener, stayed there 2 days, dealing with, it's been computer stuff for about a week and a half now.
Do you do stuff for Rogers?
No, I fight with them. They don't do anything for us. They have.
No, they're your what provider? Internet provider?
Internet in Kitchener, yeah. And it was off and on, and they were complaining. I solved that, and I got Rogers in, and they found that, we have a filter on the line, and the line comes out the back of the building over to the next block along the top of a fence.
Yeah.
And then along the top of a fence for a set of apartment buildings 600 feet away, where there it goes into the ground. So there's 600 feet. They have a filter on each end. They said, oh yeah, they use those when you have a whole bunch of customers, but so that you don't get more internet than the other people. So now we know why people complain all the time, right? So they took those out and it started working. But the cameras stopped working.
We're going to start painting in some of the sky holes. And you can see just a little bit of that original blue that we put in there as the sky holes when we first started the background. Not much of it survived, but we're going to put that all back in. So we're looking to the reference to see where these sky holes are. We're not going to put probably as many, same as we didn't put as many leaves as what might be in the reference. It's a mix of ultramarine blue and white, titanium white. Try to vary the size and the pattern as much as possible. Again, do not worry about painting onto the trunks, as it's easy enough just to repaint those trunks. So you can put some of these on spots that maybe you're not as thrilled with. We will be painting those ones out when we repaint the trunks. So now we're going to hit all those sky holes with a much whiter version of that blue. And this is, but when we're doing this, we're only putting this on the center of those blues. We want some of that blue to show through. Gives it a nice glow effect. We'll hit most of them, possibly not some of the smallest ones. As when you're looking at holes in the tree canopy, you'll often see ones that are partially filtered by the leaves, and so they tend to be a little bit darker. So we're going to repaint the trunks, and we'll be covering up some of the splash which brings the trees to the front. We're going to pick and choose where the splash is in the foreground and where it is in the background. And we'll take out a lot of the little tiny splashes. Most of this stuff down the bottom will remain in the foreground, and we'll likely add some more of that. So we're just going to mix up desaturated purple. We'll just check that value. This is just a little bit of texture on the bark. I think that will be all right. It looks a bit light, but we know it's going to dry darker.